Oh my gosh, I think we're live. Like, this is really happening, and I am so super excited. I've been watching the comments in the chat. Oh, wait. Okay, I think I did a weird thing. Are you still there? Oh my goodness, all the
We're
things are
here.
happening at the moment. So I'm getting my own backlash, so please bear with me for a second. It works. You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you with no echo.
With no echo, but I have an echo. Oh, for the love of all things. Well, hi, friends. There are 46 of you here. I couldn't be any more excited, and I'm just gonna have to ignore what I'm hearing. I'm so excited that you're here. I have a super helper today. Her name is Sarah Lynn, and Sarah's doing some magical things for you. Sarah, could you pin the document to the top of the screen for me for a second? All right, so if you look at the top of your screen, you should see a link. Will you do me a favor and click that link? You could also use the QR reader on the screen. Either will work. And you should end up with a document that looks like this. If you can tell me in the chat if you can see it, then we're gonna know we can get started. I wish I knew why I was hearing myself a second time, but that's okay. Okay, good. So Dion's got it and Jessica's got it. Yay. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Felicia and Elizabeth and Stephanie and Barry. Oh, you guys are making me so happy. Hi. So my name's Christy, and I am here today to give you a shot of B12 to get you excited about the talents that you have and to hopefully give you some things that you can use right away. So, what I want you to do is open this document that you should no, you're not seeing it yet. Hold on. Let's see. No, you're not seeing it. Okay. So, what you're looking at right now is the analyze, improve, move, right? So, what you're going to also have is the document. That's to follow along with. That'll just help. But we are so, so glad that you chose to be here. So, I'm sorry to be a little flustered, but I am hearing myself twice. It's just fun. Oh, I see why. I see why. Wait, wait.
I was going to
I
say, we're
fixed it.
getting
I
a
can
little
fix
bit
it.
of an echo now.
Okay, wait. I think I fixed it. Are we here? Oh my gosh, best day ever. Guess what happens when you open it twice? You get to hear it twice. That's perfect. Okay. Now we're settled. All right, friends, welcome. I am so excited because there are so many of you that I know from different walks of life, and then there are so many of you that I don't know at all. So, hi, my name's Christy, and we are going to talk today about how to leverage your superpowers. I have a company called AIM, and what AIM stands for is that you have to take AIM, you have to set a clear target, and then you have to analyze your current systems, improve on those systems, and move towards excellence. That's the goal. And today, you're going to get some tools in your tool belt to do exactly that. So, the most important part, and I said this, it might be exactly why some of you are here, is that you're going to have some giveaways today. So, because you're here, you can win one of these three things. You could win a book bundle, which are both of my books and some stickers and all of the exciting stuff. You can also win free coaching with me, which would be 2 sessions of coaching where we'll figure out how you can take AIM. And then the last one is you can end up with a customized Yeti, kind of like this one, that says AIM on it. So those are the three things you could win, but you have to stay present, and I'm sure you will. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in with no further ado. And figure out women who lead, leveraging your superpowers. So, we are going to leverage the comments section quite a bit today. So, you should have a comment section on the right if you're on your phone or if you are on a computer. So, let's see how well that works. Would you do me a favor in that comment section? And would you please just put why you chose to join us today? What are you hoping to gain from our time together? So, maybe it's just new ideas, or maybe it's a brighter way of thinking, or maybe it's just because I like you, Christy, you're pretty cool. I'm sure that will be your answer. So go ahead and put in the comment section, why did you decide to be here today? And I think my echo went away. My sweet husband, thank you for being in love with the speaker. That works for me. To refill my cup, Jessica, I love that. Liv wants to leverage her superpowers. And you wanted to hear me, so here I am. Expand your thinking, Felicia. I love that too. New and innovative ideas for growth, Rebecca. I love that. Joni wants to find some inspiration in other stories. Oh, thank you, Joni. I think you're pretty awesome too. You're going to hear your name in a little bit. And Dion, you make me smile. Tara wants to learn more about herself and how to be a better leader. Oh, I love this. Mary Beth, you are sweet. Brandy, so fun fact, Brandy and I have known each other since the ninth grade. We have been buddies since then. So Brandy, big shout out to you. I think you've known me the longest. Well, except for maybe my mother who's here too. You've known me the longest, Mama. Thank you for doing what you do. Ingrid's here. She wants a positive perspective. Barry, I thank you for being a fan. I'm a big fan of yours too. Lisa hopes to gain some new perspective. Finding a network of other women. Amanda, yes, please. We need that, don't we? So thank you for all the things that I'm seeing in the chat. Looks like today's going to be kind of fun for you. So here's what you need in order to be successful. I want you to have that document somewhere on your computer so that you can kind of follow along and have it. You might use it again later. You might want to print it out, whatever works for you. And then something to write with. I am a big fan of color. So I have all my colored pens here. Maybe that would be something that you would want because I want you to remember this stuff. We do believe in the good old fashioned note taking system. So think about what you need to do to set yourself up for success. So I'd love for you to take just about 30 seconds. And in those 30 seconds, I want you to set yourself up for success, whether that's grabbing a piece of paper, grabbing a drink of water, just getting ready to settle in and learn together. So I'm going to be quiet. And now you're finding your way of getting ready. Yeah, the quiet part I'm not so good at. So now that you are set to go, what are our 3 objectives? What are the 3 things that we're going to do with our time together today? Well, we're going to leverage your superpowers. I believe that our personalities are our superpowers. And as women, we most definitely forget sometimes that that is indeed a strength and not a weakness. Imposter syndrome is real. It's real for all of us, but certainly I face it often where I'm like, oh, do I belong here? I don't know if I have anything to contribute. I don't know if I'm good enough. Well, today, this day, you're going to learn why you are not only good enough, you are exactly what people need. We're also going to figure out how to lead fiercely. And I do believe that whether you are leading your 3 and 5-year-old, or you are leading 100 people in your company, or you are leading a team of 2, you need to lead fiercely. So how do we do that? And how do we use our personalities to do that? And then we're going to learn a little bit more about yourself and others, because there is power in knowing you. There's even more power in knowing others. So would you do me a favor back over in that comment section, and would you give me a 1, a 2, or a 3, whichever one is most interesting to you? Which one of those 3 things holds your interest? And hi, Dane. So we're looking for that shower in the chat. Is it a 1, a 2, or a 3 that you're excited about today? Oop, I see 1s and 2s so far. Hi, Stephanie. I see a 3. Oh, and they keep coming. Oh, here's where I'm excited. I saw a 1, a 2, and a 3, so I don't need to throw anything out. Like, we're good. We can just keep trucking. This is good stuff. So thank you. All of the above works for me too. So as you can tell, we are going to use the comments a lot. I picked StreamYard because my good friend Bertine told me it was a good way to go live at the same time that you were doing something like this. But I miss my breakout rooms and I miss my cameras. So I am going to use that comment section a lot. So be ready to be present. What I want you to put in the comments. And this is something I want you to really think about. I want you to place a word in the comments that describes a woman who inspires you. Somebody that you're like, oh my gosh, if I could be more like that, or if I had more of that, whatever it is. So what's the word that would describe that person? Is she tenacious? Is she funny? Is she brave? What is she? So go ahead and put that word. Thank you, Carla, for kicking us off with supportive, brave, harmonious. Oh, beautiful word. Polished, Kelly. I like that. Patient. Yep. Passionate. Confident, grit, very gritty, right, Bran? Graceful, authentic, assertive, confident. I'm seeing a couple confidence, fearless. Love that, Denise. Empathy or empathetic, vibrant, brave, couple braves, couple fearlesses, tenacious. Oh, hi, Audra. Honest, yes. Demure. What a great word. Keep them coming. Fearless. Fearless is popular. Wow, those are some pretty fantastic words. And if you want to scroll back up, you can see that they're not all the same. That's important because I might think that it's admirable for somebody to be fearless, and somebody else might think that it's admirable for someone to be demure or to be confident or to be prepared or to be humble. Here's why. Each one of us not only is something specific, we need something specific. And that need is not the same for all of us. So, what tends to happen is we think, oh, well, she's got it all together because she's fearless. Okay, great. But what about the person that can hold everybody else together? Because we need that too. And we also need that authentic person who always shows up as their best self. And we need the person who looks after us, takes care of us, thinks about what people need instead of just assuming that everybody has what they need. So it is so important that we think about that we are thoughtful about, we don't all show up the same. And that's actually a superpower. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. So I'm really impressed. I thought this is how it would work. I wasn't sure. But I thought that I would see lots of different ways that this would work. And that's because we all have different talents. We're going to talk today about what our talents are and how those talents show up both at work and at home. And we want to make sure that you are thinking about, okay, so I might not be able to show up fearlessly. That's not my superpower. But darn it if I'm not compassionate. And that's what somebody else sees as a superpower. So just want you to recognize that being you is exactly what you need to be. And that's why we're here today. So thank you for going on that little exercise with me. I had to use this picture. This is Dexter the dog. If you've known me at all, Dexter the dog has been around for 13 years. And I got these cute little shoes in the mail from my father, and we had to put them on him. I put this on here because he was authentically being himself in these shoes. He could only walk backwards. He couldn't walk forwards. He could only walk backwards. And I thought of him when I thought of being authentically me. This little dog has never been anything but himself. He's feisty. He's the alpha, even though the other two dogs in the house outweigh him by 30, 40, 50, and almost like 75 pounds. And yet he always shows up as himself. I'm going to encourage you today to show up as you. There is not a right or wrong answer to any of the things we're getting ready to talk about. There is instead your answer because you were fearfully and wonderfully made to be exactly you. You don't have to be somebody else. But I think sometimes we think we're supposed to fit in a box or a mold and we're supposed to be a certain way. We're not. Nobody says we have to be. Society would have you believe that maybe you're supposed to do something a certain way, but reality says you're supposed to do things the way you were made to do them. Now, that doesn't mean you get to walk around and be a jerk. That's not what I mean at all. Although Dexter the dog is kind of a jerk sometimes. He'll bark at things that aren't there, and he, pees in the floor now, which he's never done in his entire life. But you know what? He's old, so I'm going to give him credit. I'm not telling you get to be a jerk. I'm telling you that you get to be authentically you. Because when you are authentically you, you get to not walk around in a mask. So some of you have heard me say this before. I think it's important to note. When we wear a mask, it works for a while, and then eventually it starts to be suffocating, right? So think snorkeling or masquerade ball. In either case, you've got this mask on, and maybe it makes it a little more difficult to see. Maybe it's covering your nose, so it makes it a little more difficult to breathe, and eventually you want to rip that bad boy off. Well, you can't walk around life in a mask either, but if you're trying to be something you're not all the time, you are wearing a mask. And I'm here today to help you remove that mask and figure out how to be the best version of yourself every day, wherever you are with the humans you're with. So be a little more like Dexter the dog. Okay, so you have that document in front of you, and that document in front of you has these two graphics on it. I'm going to talk you through these graphics, and I want you to listen through the lens of you. Now, some people like to say, I'm all for Christy, and that's fine, but that means you're wearing a mask in some way. I want you to think about how you most boldly, most naturally, most comfortably show up. So I'm going to describe each one of these. You do have the words in front of you, but as you're thinking about which one you are, I want you to land somewhere. Now, you can land in one and have other tendencies. That's fine. But I don't want you to say, I'm all for, unless you truly, beyond a shadow of a doubt, always morph into something. And if you do, you're really superhuman. That's impressive. So here we go. I'm going to start on the far left-hand side where it says magnifying glass in red. So our magnifying glass friends, well, actually, let me start with this. So there are tons of different personality tests out there. As a matter of fact, there are 4 linked at the bottom of that document that you have. Personality tests are wonderful, but sometimes we get really bogged down in the details of those personality tests. So we get this like 6-page explanation of what we are, and then we're like, but I don't relate to that, but I do relate to this, but I get this and I don't get that. The reason I choose this particular one is it's quick. It doesn't require an assessment, and it gives everybody in the room a common language. So I will use this with leadership teams. I'll explain a couple different ways that I've used it a little later, but often I'll go into a room and say, all right, what are you? And then after we know what they are, the whole conversation gets really deep and goes further down from the surface. But this is the surface level stuff. Okay, are you ready? So, my magnifying glass friends, if you are a magnifying glass, the main hormone that goes off in your brain is actually testosterone. That is not a gender specific thing. It's just the hormone that's released in your mind most frequently. So, if you are a magnifying glass, you are unbelievably detail oriented. Think about how a magnifying glass works. It zooms in on the details. So, this is the person that probably plans the trip, knows where we're going, how the day is supposed to look. They get things done. They are very, very good at marking things off of a list, not because they necessarily created the to do list, but darn it, they're going to get things done, right? This is the person you want on your team if you want to actually accomplish whatever the goal is. Magnifying glass. Our teddy bears. Our teddy bears release estrogen. And that estrogen, again, not gender specific. And please do not hear soft when you hear teddy bears. I know some grizzly teddy bears too. But our teddy bears are very concerned with how people feel. They're the ones that are going to check in with you, make sure you've had enough water, that you've taken a break every once in a while, that you have what you need. They check in on you, your family. They know your dog's name. Your teddy bears care very much about the human side of things. They're people oriented. Then we have our paper clips. Our paper clips are serotonin releasers, and they are unbelievably organized. They probably have a color-coded sock drawer. You would have, like right now, you've already printed this out and you've decided which colors you're going to use to write different things on your paper. You need things to be in order. You hold things together. Our paper clips are actually the to-do list makers, where our magnifying glass are the to-do list checker offers. And then we have our slinkies. Y'all, our slinkies are fun. Slinkies are fun. They release dopamine, and they're big idea people. They're the ones that go, oh my gosh, that's such a cool idea. And we could do this, and then we could do that. And oh, that's going to be great. But a slinky needs a paperclip in their life to actually accomplish whatever those big ideas were, right? Because they're so fun that they tend to forget, oh, wait, we got to do action with that funness, right? So one more time, magnifying glass, teddy bear, paperclip, or slinky. Now, it is going to shock all of you, I know, to hear that I am a slinky with teddy bear tendencies. So I want you to think about you for a second. We're going to take about 30 seconds. What I want you to do with these 30 seconds is I want you to look at the sheet that you have and look or look at the screen. And I really want you to dig deep and go, in a setting where I lead, which one do I show up as most? Okay, in a setting where I lead, where do I show up most? So we're going to think about that. And some of you are doing exactly what I want you to do, and you're putting it in the chat. So Dominique, thank you for letting us know that you are the rare breed of paperclip slinky. Those don't exist in the wild very often. So you are impressive. So go ahead and take a moment. We're going to take about 30 seconds. If you want to drop them in the chat, you certainly can. Joni's that rare breed too. Julia's a magnifying glass. We've got paper clips with teddy bear tendencies. Oh my goodness, I love it. All right. If you haven't already stuck some of those in there, Jessica, you are a woman after my own heart. You're a slinky with lots of teddy bear. I'm with you. Bertine is a magnifying glass with paperclip tendencies. All teddy bear all day. Sarah, I would agree with that. I would fully agree with that. Madison's a teddy bear too. You guys should be friends. Carolee is a slinky by nature and a paperclip by nurture. What a great response. So I have to show you something. I have been doing this particular personality assessment for at least 15 years. And about 11 or 12 years ago, I got this picture right here from one of the people that is in this room right now, actually working my back channel chat. So it says that I am a slinky and these are the things that I bring to the table, right? But this was made by my sweet paperclip friend, Sarah Lynn. So, Sarah, shout out to you because you are the one that's making the chat work and all of that good stuff. Here's why Sarah and I are a good team. So, I am a slinky. A little all over the place. I have piles, but I know what's in my piles. Nobody else knows what's in my piles, but I could tell you exactly what's in my piles. Sarah had folders. Those folders were color coded. They were beautiful. They always made sense. So I would often call Sarah because I would be in a school and she'd be in the office and I'd say, Sarah, please go into my office and grab the pink Post-it note that's on the right-hand monitor, like 3 Post-it notes in, and tell me what it says. And she'd be like, are you kidding me right now, Christy? How is it possible that you have this many Post-it notes and you know where they are? Y'all, that's a perfect example of the blending of personalities. So now I want you to go a little deeper. Dion, I knew you would understand my piles. I want you to take this a step further. I want you to think about who you are in the workspace or in the home. Why does that make you why does that make you good at what you do? See, me being a slinky paperclip means that I can have a ton of ideas. I can fail forward and fail fast. I'm not afraid to try new things. And I am also going to make sure that I'm not blowing everybody out of the water as I go because I'm a teddy bear and I'm going to check in on people. That's what makes me good at what I do. So let's see what makes you good at what you do. Jessica, for me, it's note cards, right? And then you categorize and staple them. And that is needed in any project because then you can actually find what you need. So do me a favor and in the chat, think about why being who you are is actually a superpower. And shout out to my slinky friends. Oh, Dion, I love that. So, Dion, that's a perfect example of an industry specific answer. So, thank you, Sarah, for putting that up. Go ahead and check your answer out, and that might make you think of yours. Oh, Suzanne, you're teachable. I love that. Notes and index cards so you can find them. And Candace Stedman, you are definitely a teddy bear. That makes sense to me. Elizabeth, great answer. Olivia is able to handle multiple projects at once. Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. And then that teddy bear part allows you to connect when other people are feeling stressed about all those projects. Beautiful. Oh, Sarah, I love it. Helps you think strategically around pilot projects. And then you need to ask tough questions. That's beautiful. Details of big ideas and create the plans to put them in action. Jill, I'm a little in love with you, my friend. Somebody who does taxes better be a magnifying glass for sure. You can't miss it. Oh, and Brandy, as an assistant principal, you do have to be fun, nurturing, and strict all at the same exact time. Y'all, look at this. Jillian, you are creative and idea generating, goal oriented, so you get it done and you have great ideas. Bertine's a strategist, asking questions, so important. Love, love. Dane, you're a slinky all day long, my friend. And Tony, you are a pretty big teddy bear. Take just a second to look at those comments. You can scroll back and forth. And I just want you to notice all the different beautiful talents that the people on this call have. Here's the part I need you to understand. We need every single one of you. Sometimes we think, oh, but if I could just be more like this person. No, you need to be more like you, and you need to find that person to be that in your life, right? We can't all be slinkies, because if we are all slinkies, it becomes a lot, right? So, statistically speaking, this is just a fun fact. This is actually neuroscience. It's called your neurosignature. So, the testosterone, estrogen, serotonin, and dopamine are the neurosignatures that you release to be who you are. So if we were to hook you up to electrodes and watch your brain, we would see more dopamine in a slinky brain than we would in a teddy bear brain, which is pretty cool. And statistically speaking, 85% of all leaders, like by title CEO level leaders, are magnifying glass slinkies. So they might be more slinky than magnifying glass or vice versa. But here's the problem with that. Now, those are beautiful people, very wonderful people, very high energy people, very demanding people, which means that those who are taking care of them, who are often the serotonin and paperclip teddy bears, right? The serotonin estrogen, they're a little exhausted by these people who are very demanding over here. It isn't wrong. It is important that you understand how they work together. So if you build an entire team of slinkies and you're like, yep, we are all slinkies and we are going to do really amazing things, that sounds great in theory, but in action, that's not going to work. As a matter of fact, that's going to wear people out. So instead, you have to have a little bit of all four. So, as a woman who leads, I want you to think about how you show up and then who needs to show up with you to make really great things happen. So, we're going to keep moving, and I'm actually going to share with you some amazing tips and tricks, nuggets of wisdom, information that I've learned from some of my brilliant female friends. So, you may or may not know that I have a podcast called Productive Joy, and I just today released episode number 68. So, I do 2 episodes a week. The first episode is an interview with somebody, and then the second episode is a recap by me of that interview. So, I put together some of the quotes from the women that I have interviewed. Now, I've interviewed men too, and they're wonderful and amazing, but today is about us ladies. So, from some of the amazing women, I've learned some things. Here's the lens through which I want you to listen. I want you to listen through the lens of, do I think this person was a slinky? Or were they a magnifying glass? Or were they a teddy bear? Or were they a paperclip? And I don't know the answers to those, but I want you to listen through that lens and think about how all of those things come together to give us some really good advice. So don't worry, there are no right or wrong answers, but if you really like to be right or wrong and you want to put something in the chat, I'm not going to stop you. So here we go. First one is from my sweet friend Jody Costa. Jody is she runs a publishing company. She has written a book. She is kind and thoughtful and just simply amazing. And she said, don't silence your story. Just start writing. And what she meant there was literally a physical book, right? We all have books in us, and we should think about how those books come to light. But in her situation here, don't silence your story, just start writing. I could argue that's a teddy bear thing to say. I could argue that's a magnifying glass thing to say. I could probably also argue that's a slinky thing to say. Remember, there is no right or wrong answer. I just want you to notice the variety of the brilliance. So my second one here is Joni Pilgrim, who is on the call, and I am giving you a shout out too. She has built a multi-million dollar business, and she did that out of her garage. And she just tried and failed and tried and failed until she succeeded. And the thing that I loved most about what you said, Joni, is if something is on your to-do list for more than a couple days, it probably doesn't belong on your to-do list. It actually should be on somebody else's. Oh my gosh, is that revolutionary? Because if I'm a slinky and something that is very detail oriented is on my to-do list, I need to hand it to a paperclip because I'm going to screw it up or just keep avoiding it, right? But she also said, figure out how to love what you're doing and the rest comes easily. And I couldn't agree more. So thank you, Joni. That is your shout out. All right, Bertine's on here too. So Bertine, woot woot, shout out to you. Bertine does a SWOT analysis with businesses. She helps entrepreneurs figure out how to launch their business. And she said that weaknesses are differences, not deficits. I think sometimes we think, well, I'm not a magnifying glass, so I must not be as good as somebody who is. No, ma'am. That's not how this works. That just means that you are bringing a different gift to the table. It is a difference, not a deficit. So big shout out to you, my friend. And Morgan and Tara, I saw Tara on here. I don't know if Morgan's on here either. These beautiful women own our gym. And one of the things that they taught us is that you can do hard things, especially when you have a great support system. So they're running this very successful gym while they have littles, one of which is pregnant. Not the little's not pregnant. Morgan's pregnant. So lots of little ones, families that they have to take care of, but they figured out how to do the hard things by surrounding themselves with really great people. Ladies, we don't have to do it by ourselves. So stop thinking you do. Just because you are a super teddy bear does not mean you have to carry everybody's emotions on your shoulders. You can share. All right, we're going to keep going. Oh, my sweet friend, Kelsey Stevens. Kelsey, big shout out to you. You can crush it in life, just not all at exactly the same time. What she recognized is that she's an amazing mother. She's an amazing boss. She's an amazing friend. She's an amazing wife. But sometimes you have to let one thing go take a little bit of a back seat for a day while another thing takes the front seat. It doesn't stay there. It continues to jockey. She actually taught us about glass balls and rubber balls. We're all juggling all kinds of things all the time. Ladies, we are juggling all the things because you're the only one who knows where the socks are. You're also the only one who magically knows how to cook dinner, and you have to work full time at the same time, or you're doing all of the above literally simultaneously. But some things are glass balls and some things are rubber balls. Missing the fifth practice after having been to four, that's a rubber ball. It'll bounce. But missing the recital that the child prepared for all semester, that's a glass ball. We want to protect it. Right? So thinking about how we can be really great at all the things, just not all at exactly the same time. All right, Valerie Smith from The Solution. Shout out to Valerie. She said life's messy, and that's okay because productivity is a process. I would think that that's a very slinky thing to say. So I'm going to press pause for a second, and I'd like you to put in the chat something, just like Tara just did, that you just heard that resonated with you. What's something that I said from these brilliant women that resonated with you? So Tamara loved the task list. Tara loved the glass ball, rubber balls. What else? Don't be shy, friends. We have a couple more. If something's on your list more than 3 days, right, Dion? Find your person. Love it, Rebecca. Life is messy, and that's okay. Just start writing. Ooh, Denise, maybe that means you got a book in you. Come on, let's go. Surrounding yourself with a team. Glass balls, rubber balls. Elizabeth liked that one. Delegation. Love it. Differences, not deficits. Look at that. So my friends who are on the call who gave some of those quotes, do you see that people resonated with you? I hope that makes you happy. You are crushing it, Bran, in every way. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Yes, please. Okay, so we're going to keep going, but I want you to keep thinking, who in this do I relate to? So Griselle Scarantino said, don't allow the degradation of your sparkle. This made me happy. So Griselle also talked about the fact that every one of us is a gift, every single one of us, but we wouldn't all want the same gift. And we're not all the same gift. So it's okay if you're not somebody else's gift. And they're kind of like, yeah, you're a lot. I get that a lot. Chrissy, you're a lot. I'm like, yes, I am. And I own it, right? I am a lot extra. And I have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with that too. What's your extra? Maybe you're extra organized, or maybe you're extra sweet, or you're extra wide open like me. Doesn't matter. Be extra. Own your extra. Don't let somebody degrade your sparkle. All right, Denise Rupert, she is amazing and wonderful too. And she talks about the fact that your who has to drive your why all day, every day. Now, what does that mean? Who we are, our implicit bias, how we are wired, actually does determine our actions and how we show up in spaces. But we don't have to live in that. We have to know it. So, our implicit bias is that knee jerk reaction, right? The thing that we tend to do without thinking. But as a great leader, as women who lead, you need to think about the fact that, you know what, I can't say that thing that I'm thinking right now. Instead, you have to flip into your systems two thinking and recognize that that's not the right place for this statement, this action, this whatever. It's okay to feel it. It's okay to own it, but then you have to actually move past it to be a great leader to all. So know your who so that your why can react. Erin Port has a company called Simple Purposeful Living. She is unbelievably ridiculous, y'all. Her recipes, just start there. If you're not already following Erin Port, I fully recommend it with my whole being. She talked about tiny changes making a profound impact and the fact that you can't fall into a 24-hour trap. So to me, this is a very paperclippy thing to think about, and yet so important for us slinkies. She said you need to write down how you're feeling and what you're doing that brings you joy for an entire week. Not just a day, because at the end of the week, you need to look and see, did I spend time doing the things that make me happy? And if it's not on there an entire week, you need to reassess that. If it didn't make it to a day, that's because you're living life and you're normal, right? But it's more about, did it happen in a week? And if it didn't, find that joy. So thank you, Erin, for your brilliance. Dr. Brianna Rue, she was pretty cool. She actually is an optometrist who turned into a tech specialist and now owns a tech company because, one career wasn't enough. And she said to leverage people's strengths to make you a better team. Y'all, that's exactly what we're talking about today. You do not have to be everything. You have to have people surrounding you who can help you accomplish everything. So you need to be super thoughtful about, I, as a slinky, know that I need a paperclip, right? So Sarah, can you help me today? And asking is what allows you to be as successful as possible. So think about that. Who do you need to surround yourself with? Who's your team? Altair Gonzalez, I love her. She is such a feisty, brilliant woman. And she said, when leaders nourish you, you nourish others. She also said, when leaders deplete you, you deplete others. So think about that. If you're a magnifying glass and you tend to be very task oriented and get things done kind of person, and you don't have a whole lot of teddy bear in you, then what ends up happening is you're depleting your people instead of nourishing them. So who do you need to bring alongside you to support you in that? I'm not telling you to wear a mask. I'm telling you to recognize that talent about yourself and know that you need to have somebody who does both for you. So again, I'm going to press pause for just a second, and I want you to think about what you heard. I love what I'm seeing in the chat. Lots of really great things. Anything else you want to add? Francine needs to delegate. Yes, ma'am, we all do. So as you're putting something new in the chat, I've got just a couple more people that I need to shout out. So Crystal Pierre said to find the strengths of others and acknowledge them. The part that I think is novel with this statement is to acknowledge it, right? Just because somebody thinks differently than you doesn't mean that they recognize that as a talent either. So as women who lead, are you telling the people around you, I so appreciate that you are so organized, or I could not do this job without you. Thank you for always being the teddy bear who's looking after others. Yeah, we have to be thoughtful about telling people what they're good at so they hear it, right? Because we need to hear it. At the very beginning, you guys put in the chat all the different traits that you admired in other women. Well, guess what? You have all of those traits too. I guarantee there are all of those things happening in and around you, and you just need to recognize it and say it out loud. All right, we're almost done with these. Dr. Lindsay Frey said, if something is hard, acknowledge it, find the right support, and then push past it. Y'all, we live in the stuck sometimes and we think, well, I can't do that. I am too much of a slinky to do that. I just can't. Well, stop and say, who needs to help me? This is hard, right? The things aren't going to get easier. You just have to get better at working through the hard things. Then I think this is my last one. Amy Woodall was the most recent podcast that I did before today. And she said, life doesn't happen to you, it responds to you. There is so much power in recognizing that we have more influence than we realize. So here's what I want you to do. If you're watching the screen, I can't see you, but you can see me. See this little teeny tiny hole right there? Y'all, that is your sphere of control. That's it. That's all you get. But if you put your arms out as wide as they'll go, that's your sphere of influence. You get to influence how life happens to you every single day. And you get to surround yourself with people who make you better if you choose to. But it's a choice, and you've got to choose wisely, my friends. It's okay to not know the answers. It's not okay to stay stuck. So the last thought that I want to leave you with on this part is, if I'm too much, go find less. I just heard this when we were all together out in California recently. I didn't say it. Elise Myers said it. But I need you to understand something. You're going to be too much for some people. And that's okay. You are going to be too much ambition, or you're going to be too much sunshine, or you're going to be too much happiness, or you're going to be too much drive. But if they don't want that much, they need to go find less, because you do not need to degrade your sparkle. You need to own your sparkle. You need to be as sparkly as you possibly can be and continue to know that it is okay to show up as sparkly as possible. So to quote Griselle, you're a gift. Everybody doesn't need your gift, but somebody does. So I want you to just think for a second. And actually, we're going to do this. We're going to take a deep breath in through our nose and out through our mouth. I want you to do that one more time. In through your nose and out through your mouth. And I want you to think about one thing that you've heard me say in the last 40 minutes that stuck. What's the one thing that you're like, that's why I came? That's the thing. That's the reason I'm here. Like what Mary Beth just said, it's so freeing to own the me and be authentic. And I don't have to wear a mask. Maybe that's your thing. What's the one thing? And put it in the chat. Donna liked, life doesn't happen to you. It responds to you. Everybody doesn't need our gift, Tam. That's right. Dang it. You said mic drop. Watch this. I forgot I had these talents. Wait a minute. I can do this too. How fun is that? You gotta love Canva. Chloe taught me. Oh, Candace liked the sphere of influence and the versus control. Yep. Driving forward versus behind you. Yes, love it. Yes, that is the slinky in me. I don't need to be everyday salsa. I'm guacamole. I love it. Oh my gosh, I love all of this. You guys absolutely have filled my cup today. So I want to tell you how this gets practical. Okay. So I want you to think about the different personality types, right? So these are actual opportunities that I had with different groups. So one of the things that I did recently is I worked with a group of nurses, and this group of nurses all worked on the same shift. They worked on the same floor. A lot of them were actually even family members, and they were absolutely at odds with each other. Now, this one wasn't as recent, but it was soon after the pandemic and things opened up. They were tired, they were frustrated, and they were butting heads hard. And so their boss called me and said, Christy, can you fix this? And I'm like, ma'am, I don't have a wand. Like, I don't think I can fix it, but I do think I can give you some tools. So what I did is I brought them together and I gave them a personality assessment. I actually used the Enneagram with them, but it works exactly like what we just did. So first and foremost, we figured out who we were. And then I put them in an escape room. And I got to watch them in this escape room. Now, this was 10 nurses. And at the beginning, the person that was running the escape room explained to them that they could ask for help after 10 minutes. Okay. The very first thing they had to do was get out of handcuffs. Then they could go and do the thing. 40 minutes into this escape room, this 1 hour escape room, they were still in handcuffs and they hadn't asked for help. So what we did when they did eventually get out. The only reason they got out was because one woman was very tenacious, and by herself, she clawed her way through and she figured out the escape room. And so we debriefed and we talked about the fact that they had a whole lot of magnifying glasses who didn't want to be wrong, right? They wanted to be right. They wanted to get it right. They didn't want to ask questions. And that led to them not asking for help. Well, guess what? That's exactly what was happening on the floor, too. They didn't want to appear that they didn't know something, so they just wouldn't ask. Well, the problem with that is you're never going to get anything accomplished if you don't ask. So when I left them that day, I actually left them consuming some margaritas at a Mexican restaurant at the expense of their bosses. So they didn't mind that at all. But they also left knowing that it's okay to be a magnifying glass. They just need to be okay with asking for help, right? Finding their teddy bears and finding their slinkies actually to get creative with their answers. I also did this exact thing with a couple junior league groups. So I don't know if any of my junior league friends are here today, but shout out to you if you are. So what we did is we did the paperclip magnifying glass teddy bear slinky, and I had them then get into the corners of the room that they related to most. So my paper clips were together, my magnifying glasses, and so forth. And here's what happened. Oh, hi Nicole, Nikki's here, yay! So my magnifying glasses got it done in like half the time that they were allotted. They had everything on paper, off they go, and they're looking around going, okay, well, now what? But they didn't talk to each other a whole lot. My teddy bears were having so much fun. They were relational and they were loving on each other. And eventually they got something on paper, but really they just chatted. My slinkies had 17 different ideas, none of which ever made it to the actual paper. If it did, it was very last minute because they had so many different ideas. And then my paper clips were very linear in the way they thought. They had lists, they had words, but to come up with an actual drawing was a bit of a challenge. I tell you this because what they immediately discovered is if you have an entire team that all thinks the same way, you're going to struggle to get results. Instead, if I had grouped them with one of each personality, their results would have looked very different. I did it on purpose. It was by design, not by default. And look at all my JLBRs. Shout out to Junior League Boca Raton. But what we discovered together is that we are better together. So whether you're a volunteer organization trying to get volunteers to actually do their stuff, or you are an employer who has to get your employees to be better suited as a team, those are the kinds of things I can help with. And yes, knowing your personalities makes a huge difference. It's step one, but it doesn't stop there. You still have to figure out how to take aim, right? You still have to figure out how to do the darn thing. So I wanted to remind you that this isn't just a fun activity. This isn't just okay, I listened to this thing. Yay, it was fluffy and fun. This is really about how are you going to change practice? What are you going to do as a result of the time that you have chosen to invest in yourself today? Because I bet you it's going to be pretty epic if you let it be. So now what? How are you going to utilize what you learned today to build stronger teams? You have a bunch of questions on that document that I gave you that you could certainly dig deeper into, but I'd love for you to think about this question right now. How are you going to use your learning to build stronger teams? Now, those stronger teams might be the 4 children that you are mothering in the house, or those stronger teams might be the 250 people you're responsible for as the CEO. But how are you going to use what you learned to build stronger teams? I really am going to be quiet. I want you to put this in the chat. Find a paperclip, Dion. I love it. So Carla's going to get the right people on the bus. Amen. And in the right seats. Ask for help from others, Dane. I love it. When we get stuck, we can phone a friend, right? Assign tasks to the appropriate personalities so that they can thrive. So I have a very clear definition of fun. Okay. People quit things that aren't fun, but fun means that people feel valued and appreciated. Fun means that people are able to have a voice and use it. And then fun also means that you're leveraging other people's talents for the greater good. So it's fun for people to see you. It's fun for people to recognize your talent. So make work fun so people don't quit. Love that, Candace. We are better together, Donna. Yep, you can't be afraid to ask. Love that, Camille. Share appreciation. Yes. So here's my challenge to you. Do it. Okay. AIM stands for analyze, improve, move. The move part is the part we forget to do. We analyze all day long. We sometimes improve things or say we're going to, but to actually change practice, that's rare. So let's change practice. Let's move. Let's do it differently. You guys are putting brilliant things in the chat. Write it on a Post-it note and stick it on the computer so it'll drive Sarah crazy, but you'll see it. That's for my slinky friends. Paper clips, put it in a folder somewhere, and I'm sure you'll be able to find it. I wouldn't be able to find it. Put it on your mirror, put it on your refrigerator. Remind yourself every single day of the thing that you're choosing to do differently, because nothing changes if you don't. You've got to move. So thank you for all of those things in the chat, Carolee. I love the idea of a diverse group towards a common goal, right? It's not like-minded people. It's like situated people, people who are in the same space as you, but think differently. You need that diversity of thought. So, so good. So I did make a promise to you before we take questions, and that's that there's some giveaways. And so Sarah has been working diligently behind the scenes to figure out who our winners are. It was a very scientific way of doing so. She had a little wheel. It did magical things. And so Sarah, can you tell us who won our book bundle?
Yes, I can. Cheryl Pruitt from Stone Mountain, Georgia, won the book bundle.
Whoop, whoop. Oh my goodness, Cheryl. So we have your email address. We will get your mailing address and we will make sure that you get that book bundle. And of course, they'll be signed by me. All right. Oh, wait, hold on. That. Okay. Who won our free coaching?
Dion from Marietta, Georgia, won our coaching.
We've got 2 Georgia girls so far. Love it, love it, love it. And all right, last but not least, who gets this super cool? You'll get to pick the color Yeti.
Okay, I hope I'm saying it right. Aviana Chapman from Boca Raton.
Yay! Love it, love it, love it. Hold on, you get confetti too. How exciting. Okay, so we have your email addresses, but if you also want to put those email addresses, they don't have private chat, I don't think, but if you're willing to put your email address in, Sarah will grab that for me to make sure that we get the right people to get these things and get your address. So Dion won the coaching and Cheryl won the books and Aviana won the Yeti. How exciting. All right, so before I let you go and get back to your day, I just wanted to put up here a little bit about me. And if you're not already following my podcast or my Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, I would love for you to. That would make me very, very happy. But more importantly, what questions do you have? So this particular platform, unfortunately, doesn't allow me to unmute you exactly. But if you want to put your question in the chat, I promise to give you a shout out. What questions do you have based on this? And thank you, Tam. Thank you, Joni. So fun. We've got very active winners. Thank you, Brandy. So before I let you go, I don't see any questions yet, but if they come up, I will definitely answer them. I just want you to know that I think you're incredible. I only know about half of you based on names, and yet you came today. You supported me. I could not even begin to tell you how special that is to me. And what's been cool is I can see that of the 65 of you that showed up, 62 of you are still here. And that says a whole lot. So thank you for coming today. Thank you for being here present and alive in the chat. Next time we do this, we will probably use some sort of platform where I can see you and you can get into some breakout rooms and talk to the other women. But here we are, we're a community, and I'm so grateful for all of you. You made a commitment to yourself. You said in the chat what it is that you were actually going to use. My challenge to you in the next 2 weeks is to use it. And then email me and tell me about it and be like, oh my gosh, Christy, I tried this thing. It actually worked. It was pretty great. Now, I do need to remind you that it is important to recognize it takes 18 times of trying something new to master it. You're not going to be perfect the first time. It might be a little clunky. Go with it. Give yourself some grace. It's going to be okay. So huge thank you to all of you. I thought it was a pretty great lunchtime meeting and certainly a happy way. It filled my cup for sure. Thank you. Thank you. I'll stick around for a few minutes, but we are officially done. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Goodbye, friends. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Dion. Thank you, Audra and Grace. And Mom. Thank you, Mama. And Julia's here. Brandy Ray. Go herd some cats, girl. I don't know how you did that and not at lunch duty, but I'm impressed. Jessica, glad you enjoyed it. All right, I'm going to officially end us. Thank you for being here, and go be sparkly. And you know what? Figure out a way to turn fun into action too.